Welcome to the Roundtable Podcast. As we do at all, well, let me get my words. I can't talk right now, right? So as always, we wait till those people come in to join us. So what even till then, welcome to the Roundtable Podcast. Guys, listen, you can always see this podcast every Sunday at 4:40, 4:45, around that time, 4:45.
Yes, team.
On all of our different platforms, which would be Facebook, which would be YouTube, and our IG, including or as well as our website. And guys, it's very important for the website these days. Everybody's getting cut from pages because of what they're saying and how they're saying it. And, here's our link to our actual website. Just look at what happened to Donald Trump, right? I think he just got cut indefinitely from Twitter. So it's something that's actually going on. I mean, for whatever reason, people are just being cut from freedom of speech. And that's, not a good thing. But anyway, guys, you can join us every Sunday, right here with the same host, co-host, myself with Lady B, RW3, Lovely T, every Sunday. Guys, we give you great but straight information. We try to shoot straight from the hip. We try to collect information as we go so that we can bring some importancy. I don't know, just to keep it clean, having some fact checking. Sometimes I said sometimes we fact check, not all the time. But guys, anyway, so thank you for joining. I believe Lovely T would be joining us soon. But until then, welcome to the podcast.
That's right.
And listen, stay tuned, because after this session, guys, we're going to get into what's going on. And we already know from a coup d'etat. Is it a coup d'etat? I think this was going on. The takeover of the Senate, or whatever you want to call. Some call them Donald Trump supporters. Some say they're not. They're terrorists. I don't know what to say. We're going to talk about that right after this and get into hot conversation. And guys, so stay tuned for that. But until then, we have just a very important conversation to talk about now. And lovely Lady B is going to talk about our special guest is here today to talk about this incident that happened. I believe it was in New York with this 21-year-old and the attack on the 14-year-old boy for the cell phone. Saying that he stole or took her cell phone when that wasn't the case, and end up finding her cell phone. I believe the hotel found her cell phone. At first, they said it was a Uber driver who found the phone and brought it back. So I don't know which one it is, even in that situation, whether the Uber driver or was it the hotel. Which one was it? But I mean, then you seen her on Gail, and she was telling Gail. I mean, she was very rude. Frankly, she didn't show any manners. But here's the thing. I did think she was white. Come to find out, I think she said she was Puerto Rican. She said she was Puerto Rican, and that's what she said. But I don't know if that matters, in this situation here. So do black men, young black men, even though Lady B gonna get in it, but do black men or young black men, are they challenged? Are they challenged?
Are they looked upon?
Yeah, are they looked upon as
even more older than what they really are, and
yeah.
as
Are we a
criminals
threat?
in
I
some
mean,
way?
our
Yeah,
black men are a threat. Young
black
black
boys.
men
Yeah.
are they actually a threat? You know, but let's introduce our guest that's here
Yes,
today.
most definitely. So we want on behalf of the round table, we would like to thank you, Katina Burks, for joining us today. Katina, she's a mother of 4 sons. Katina Burks considers herself as a people person who is passionate about making a difference and enhancing the lives of others. She prides herself on learning from and understanding others. Katina enjoys engaging people on whatever the topic: politics, spiritual, current academia, sports, entertainment, you name a few. She loves sharing her thoughts and getting different perspectives while connecting with others. But it's more to it, but we're gonna just we thank you for coming. We thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
That's right.
Yes.
So before we get started, we love to actually show the video. We would love to show this video because, guys, this is something that is trending. It's going on. I guess it's building. It seems like it's building, and I get it, but then to some degree I don't get it. I'm going to be honest. I get it, but then to some degree I don't get it in terms of how it's progressing. I mean, how it's just getting bigger and bigger, and are we making this a racial thing, and it's snowballing based on a racial, from a racial perspective.
Yeah, most definitely. We're gonna touch on that. We're gonna talk about that. Then we're also gonna talk about why black boys in particular are seen as older than they are, and seeing the ways in which black boys get treated differently in terms of criminal justice system and so forth. So we're gonna just touch a little bit on that as well.
That's right. So the producer should have the video up. Let's go ahead and watch this video.
Woman who wrongly accused a black teen of stealing her iPhone. She claimed in an interview she had been attacked, but police say new video appears to show her attacking the 14-year-old before running out of the hotel in Soho. Eyewitness News reporter Derek Waller with more.
New video from the NYPD shows that woman go on the attack, tackling that 14-year-old boy she falsely accused of stealing her cell phone. Later, she's seen falling over. It's that surveillance video from the Arlo Hotel, Keyon Harold's parents say, shows the hotel management mishandled the incident.
After the hotel helped the lady retrieve her phone, they did not have a security ask her to wait for the police, which they said they called. No, I'm not letting him walk away with my phone.
This is the video that initially went viral. The hotel apologized, but acknowledges they could have done more. The woman still not charged with a crime, but NYPD sources say they know who she is. And in fact, CNN says they got her on the phone, where she claims she was injured. But outside City Hall Wednesday, jazz musician Keyon Harold Sr. and the Reverend Al Sharpton demanded criminal charges.
We demand full prosecution. We demand, if this woman is saying she was assaulted, put her in the grand jury.
How many people end up in prison forever? How many people end up dead because of mistaken identity, quote unquote, because of wrongfully accused by so many people, wrongfully profiled, and this needs to stop.
This morning, Mayor de Blasio also called for charges.
This is a horrible situation. You got a teenager here who did nothing wrong, who was clearly profiled because he was young and male and black. That is racism, pure and simple. That is unacceptable in this city, in this country.
And as the legal process plays out, this woman is clearly already facing some poetic justice in the court of public opinion.
And to add to this young lady has been charged, or she's been put in other situations. I don't know what's going on. Do we have anything going on? But anyway, she's been put in bad situations. I think she's been accused for being intoxicated or charged. She's been involved. Jasmine, I hear an echo. I don't know if it's because of that other computer in front. But anyway, it's definitely a lot of. She's been charged with other things before, allegedly. She's been charged, so she's not new to the system, the court system. As she, I think they talked about that. It was another. I don't know if it was on Gail's show, but it was some other charges that she was charged with down the line. And it had to do. I think it was alcohol. It was. I mean, it was a lot of stuff. I can't remember all, but it was some things, So, but here's the thing, right? Now, why do you believe this young black boy? Because if you heard, she said that, I was the manager was looking over some stuff. In other words, trying to find out where the phone could be. And she said, I did my due diligence by trying to stop people. And she just happened to see this young black boy walk by and try to go after him. They never showed her going after other people. They just showed, the cameras show her going at, because I think that if it was me, if I was in a situation, I would say, well, could you make sure you show on the video the camera of me trying to check everybody. But they don't show that kind of footage. They just show the footage of her targeting this young black boy or this black boy and her father. You know what I mean? And I don't know how that she knew he had a cell phone. Did he have it in his hand when he was walking out of the hotel? I don't know what the situation was, but she profiled him. And people saying that she was, because him being black. What do we think about that?
I feel as though Maya showed a clear depiction of what privilege is. And her microaggressions, her actions clearly displayed what was embedded in her as a child, what she witnessed, heard, what she was taught. No, people, that's not a normal reaction when we're missing a cell phone, to come up to a random person and just accuse and attack them for having the same phone. Not only did the young kid tell her, this is my phone, this is my case, she said, oh, you probably just switched out the case. Why, when would he have time to switch out the case? When would he have time to have the exact phone case to fit your phone? So it's irrational thinking to me. And I think it comes from what's embedded in her.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And it could be, okay, so now let's play the other role to that. Could it be that she was such in a panic where, she alluded that, hey, listen, I also understand that all of my information was in that cell phone, and I'm visiting here in New York, and I'm scared, and I'm in panic mode, and I just want to know, hey, listen, I just need my phone, so I'm overreacting. I'm not even looking at black and white at this time. I'm just overreacting because of fear and all the information. And she said this was my way to get back home. So could we say that maybe that was what drove her to act the way she did? She wasn't thinking, she just was reacting.
No.
That's right.
No, because if you're in panic mode, you're going to go to what you know best. And you're telling me you don't know any phone number that was in your phone? She could have asked the hotel clerk, can I use your phone? Can I call my phone? Can I call my father? Can I call my mother?
Yeah.
So no.
Okay, so even on the strength of that, now have anyone ever lost their phone or left their phone at home, or just anything like your wallet, and it almost feel like, because you keep your phone beside you, like it's almost like a pair of glasses or your wallet now. It's like if you feel, and I mean, it's sad to say, but it's the truth. We almost feel empty when we don't have our phone, let alone to lose it or thinking someone has taken it. It's almost like we feel like a part of us is ashamed. A part of us have left us, or who violated me. You have my phone and all my personal information. So I'm going to react irate. I'm going to come after you. And matter of fact, black people, you young black men, and listen, you could have had it because black men are known for stealing. You know, they're known for taking, you know, they're always up to no good. And then you're a young black boy and you have my phone. I mean, you know, so what do you think about this? I mean, let's get into the meat of this. Is it the media's fault? Whose fault is it that we have this depiction of who black people are? We characterize them or young black men as hood people, you know, thugs. You know what I mean? So he had it. I know he had it. That's my phone. What made her just believe that?
Well, some information I put up. It says that it was a report that was done, an experiment with 264 college students. Most of them were white. They were presented with a description of criminal activities, which were paired with pictures of whites, black, and Latino boys who supposedly were responsible for those crimes. The students consistently overestimated that the age of the black children by 4.5 years, suggesting that in some cases, black children may be viewed as adults when they are just 13 years old. Study was done by Matthew Jackson. That's what was told, that a lot of times they're looked at as adults, like 13-year-olds, black boys, 14-year-olds. They look more like adults. So they would pick them and say, oh, yeah, they have the tendency to be, involved in criminal activities and things of that nature.
So are we saying to that article that our black men don't look innocent? Black boys, they're not innocent. You know, they look grown and look like they don't have that pureness about them, their features. He looked like he could have done it, where you have some white men who don't look so aggressive in the face. So they say they look innocent. You know, they don't look like they could do that. You know what I mean? What is it about this situation that driven this young lady to think that this young 14-year-old had this phone, who I might add doesn't look like a 14-year-old?
I'm gonna just say this. I'm just gonna say this. Let's just say from the beginning. It's from the beginning of time. The false accusations, the false assumptions of aggression, danger, violence, and criminality has been the perception that has been spewed from our white counterparts. Law enforcement, the criminal justice system, society, and the media. Let's take Emmett Till, and he was a child. Let's take the exonerated 5. They were children that were made to be viewed as these terrible, terrible kids that could commit such a violent crime. Whites have lied and intentionally painted that picture of our boys for decades, for centuries, and not just our boys, but our men. And we allow them to be in these positions, in these platforms, and those are the very essence in which these false assumptions and accusations are created, and we allow it to thrive.
That's right.
So and I was gonna say too that that in that particular situation, though, and I don't want to veer off because I understand where we're going with, the criminalization of Black boys. But to me, the lady was just spoiled and privileged. I don't even really think it mattered. Like, maybe to some degree, her willingness to go as far as she did maybe had something to do with him being Black. But to me, he could have been any color and she would have reacted the same way, because if you look at her history, she already got 2 DUIs, and I mean, her mama was involved. So like, her story, from what was told by the media, to me portrays her as someone who was very spoiled, very privileged, challenges authority on a regular basis. So it just so happened that this young man, who happened to be Black, fell victim to another instance of her exercising her perceived privilege, and thinking somebody stole it. So now in a general sense, do I think, Black boys are seen? I mean, as our guest talked about, Emmett Till going as far back as that, even further, as recent as the 14-year-old that had the gun in the hand. In Minnesota, there was no thought that, oh, maybe this was a toy. It was immediately, oh, he's 14. I mean, it was immediately, he was Black, he was a male, he's dangerous. So generally speaking, yes, I think that's the case. But in this particular case, I don't think the color was so much of the issue as much as it was her perceived privilege. Because she was like, I'm Puerto Rican, like that excuses you of your behavior? No, it doesn't. She walked in a space of privilege.
And she also said, she kept on Gayle King, she kept saying over and over again, I'm 22. What do you expect? I'm 22.
Right.
I'm 22. So I to piggyback off of Lady T, yes, I do think it was a case of privilege, but do I think if it had been a white teenager, if she would have reacted the same or even approached him, I'm almost positive no. The reaction would have not been the same.
Well, even we have a comment.
Yeah, let me just read this quickly. Nate, society has painted the picture that every Black child or Black man is violent, and every white child or white man needs their innocence to be preserved and protected.
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about that one too when it comes to this this coup d'etat, the coup d'etat, where it showed all these white men breaking into the house. But my thing is this. Here's the thing, right? So I think the mayor, I don't know, was it the mayor of New York or no? Maybe it was the mayor of New York who said that this situation was a racist act. He called it a racist act. I guess they're calling this racist act a crime because it was racially driven, pointing him out because he was. I mean, they labeling it as though she did this.
Was there other people coming out when they was coming out?
Well, I mean, and I think to our guest point, I think the reaction, not so much from the Karen, but the reaction, like the manager, like had that been a white boy, would he have said, let me see the phone, or can I see, what I'm saying? Maybe he would have said, ma'am, can you find, he would have been more focused on calming her down than trying to get the young boy to show his phone. I think that was racially motivated, and I think if nothing else, the hotel should be held accountable as well, because he to me, his focus should have been de-escalating her. Okay, right. They were residents at the damn hotel anyway, so it wasn't like they was going too far. And he could have called the police and just said, ma'am, I'm gonna need you to calm down until the police get here and we'll let them straighten it out. But he tried, you know what I mean? So I think and maybe he was just ill-equipped. Maybe he was, ignorant of how to deal with the situation. But clearly, I do think the fact that it was a young Black boy steered his actions in the way that it played out.
Absolutely.
And I agree. But
let's just look at two things here. She never once apologized.
No.
And she never took accountability for her actions.
Right.
No. And the only reason why she did apologize because all of this made the news, and she, I mean, it shows it. But see, here's the thing. We brought up a great question. Now, should the hotel, if anybody I will be going after is the hotel, because the hotel allowed this act to happen, allowed this young boy to be charged. What if he was seriously hurt? He didn't do anything about it, and she slammed him on the ground. I mean, so it could have been some real damage. And if I was them, I would go after the hotel, because that's probably where the real dollars are anyway, is in the hotel. We don't know this lady or her family, or in fact, she's old enough, so the family really won't be involved in terms of, I don't believe, a lawsuit, because this young lady is 22. She's not, the parents is not responsible. So the person that I will be going after, the hotel, because that's where the money is. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
One of the original articles stated that the young kid and his father were residents of the hotel. Mine had already checked out 3 days prior. So while she was even there,
Right.
I haven't even connected the dots as to why, but she was no longer a guest at the hotel.
Oh,
So
wow.
if anything, the hotel should have been protecting their guests.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Yep, that's
That's
right.
right. So that's to me where the lawsuit
Mhm.
would be. It would be there suing that hotel. The manager did not act right on that. He in fact he went along with this young lady by asking him to, could you please show your phone?
Oh,
Where
wow.
he had no obligations to. He wasn't obligated to show anything, and yet he still pursued that, and that's on tape.
I mean, you can even see with the body language in this video that you're showing, like he freely let her, you see what I'm saying? Let her go back and forth while he's facing the young man.
That's
He
right.
should have had his attention towards her, calming her down.
Yeah.
Or telling her to leave.
Exactly.
So she not a guest.
Get off this property. You're not a guest here. Hey,
Right.
listen, call Lost and Found. Call our Lost and Found department and put in a claim if you can even do that. You know what I mean? But don't come up in here charging our guests. See, that to me where the privilege were. You know what I mean? The privilege was she was a lot. Now let's switch it. What if that black man came back into this hotel? The first thing they would have said, sir, are you a guest in this hotel?
Yeah.
That's the first thing they would have asked him.
Sure
Are you a
would've.
guest in this hotel? If you're not a guest, you're gonna have to take this up with the police. You're gonna have to call whoever you need to call, but you can't come in here disturbing our guests or assaulting our guests. Yeah, and I'm going to call the police. That's, to me, I think would have happened if it was turned around. You know, but here, not knowing that this young lady wasn't a white woman. From what she says, she's Puerto Rican, wasn't a white woman, but he didn't know that because I thought she was Caucasian myself. You know, I guess that's, how it is in terms of not knowing who is who these days, right? And especially with these masks we have on our face, it's hard to identify who we are. But, so if anything, that's who I will go after. It shows that this lady has no respect for people. She doesn't have any manners. Look how she did to Gail King, saying that's enough. Well, she did something like enough. She put her hand up in Gail's face, through the camera. Even her attorney told her to stop it. I mean, this younger. So going back with what Lovely T say, you see the privilege. You definitely see the privilege in the fact that she felt that I could just say enough. Like, hey,
look, right there.
enough. Yeah, it's over. So you can see the privilege there. Now, I don't know who her family is. Obviously, we don't know what type of money that her family has, or she just been going through life faking it out as somebody that she's not. I don't know, but I do know now this caught up with her. These reactions have caught up with now. So here, let's do a little turn.
Okay.
Let's go into our guest rather. She has, is it 4 sons?
Yes.
You do.
4 sons. You have 4 black sons, we might add. And I think everybody on this panel has a black son.
Yes.
On this panel. And from what I'm hearing, that you have 4 successful black men that you have raised. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I'm so proud of my sons. Let me start with that because I was a teen mom. I had my first son when I was 15 years old. I had my second son when I was 16 years old. So I was still in high school with 2 sons. And my oldest son, Corey, he has just made me so proud because he just graduated with his master's degree in public administration. And, he's intending to go back. He's intending to go back and get his PhD. So he just warms my heart. He just makes me so proud because back then they told us, the statistics told us she won't graduate from high school. he's not going to graduate from high school, but that's not the case. So I've graduated from college. He's graduated from college. My second oldest is 27. He is a general manager for Cinnabon Corporations, and he manages 3 different stores. My son Derek is he's in the challenging part of his life right now because he was just diagnosed with major depression disorder and anxiety disorder, and so he's living with that right now. And then my baby boy Dion, he's working and he's in school. He's going to school for IT with a minor in cybersecurity. So I'm really proud of them.
So what were some things that you had to instill in them as, being Black boys going out here in society? We already know what's been going on, how Black boys are viewed. What were some things that you instilled that you would like to kind of share?
You got to work harder than everybody else.
That's right.
You have to work harder than everybody else, and you have to get an education.
That's right.
And education don't always mean that you got to have a college degree.
That's right.
But educate yourself on what it is that you want to do and know everything about that particular project. So if you want to open up a barbershop, take the free business classes that the county offers, or take every class that you need to take to educate yourself. Talk to other barbers who have opened up a shop and they are successful at it. But education is the key.
That's right. Education. Now, can we read this comment? Chris made something. He said something that was really interesting that we didn't look at it that way. What do you say?
Puerto Rican isn't a race. It's possible to be white and Puerto Rican.
And that's true. So you can't hide up under so much. And yeah, that's a great comment. And hide in that area. So I guess it doesn't mean that you can't steal. And we're not saying because you're Puerto Rican that you couldn't be a racist. You know what I mean? Or so we're not saying
everybody has bias. Everybody has bias, whether it's implicit. But that's why I said, like, for me, I like you say, I don't know what her economic status is, but she is a mess. She is a hot mess. And I mean, just to put it bluntly, because she walks around in a very, very privileged space that it's blinding. I mean, for you to think that you can just go up to the authorities, go up to, prominent public figures like, Gayle King, demand some, to the point that you're going to jump somebody and not think that there would be consequences. And then, like you say, never admit to your part in that. Never say I'm sorry. Like, she is a hot mess.
That's right.
Lovely T. Let's even go a little step further. Oftentimes, it has nothing to do with economic status, even though it does. Most times, it does. It goes off of your appearance, because I will tell you, when they found her in California, they tried to pull her over. She would not pull over. She drove all the way home. So that's evading the police. When the deputies approached her car, she refused to get out the car. And not only did she resist arrest, she assaulted one of the deputies.
Wow.
So if that had have been anyone that did not look like her, what would have happened?
Yes.
Yeah. The brown paper bag test, right? I agree with you wholeheartedly. I agree with you. And, I am glad that it was caught on tape. I am glad that, the public is kind of like forced them, because how many times has this happened and nothing has happened as a result?
That's right.
So at least we are in a day and a time, at least, that, she's being forced to be held accountable for her actions.
The last person I read about being mouthing off to the police or giving the police a hard time, she ended up dead in her cell, and her name was Sandra Bland.
Sandra Bland. That's right. Sandra Bland.
I mean, but just looking even at your situation, here's the thing, right? Obviously, and I don't know if it will ever break, right? I don't know if this would ever break, but we have to change the narrative of our Black young men. That has to change. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it will, but it has to change. And I guess that change will come with our families, making sure that our child is at their best. You know what I mean? And making sure that, however, even if you, whatever that means to you, because everybody, like you said, financially don't have the money to do certain things in terms of schools or whatever it may be. But whatever that is, to make sure that your child is presented at their best and on their best behavior when they go places. You know what I mean? Because of what's going on out here with our young Black men and how they are accused. I mean, what was it? Where was that at where the young Black man was coming home from the dentist, and they said he supposedly pulled a gun out of the window when he drove past these police officers. The other police officer met him at the home, and he had some Subway sandwiches, and they shot the man and killed him. They had some kind of conversation in the doorway. He was a young Black man. I mean, listen, look at the stereotype. Look
well,
how
Tony, that's why though. But that's why when you say, like, because like Miss Burks, I'm raising a son. Like you say, all of us on the panel have sons. We can raise our sons to be the utmost law-abiding citizen in these United States, and they still end up at the end of a gun barrel with a badge. You know what I'm saying? Because how many of these instances have we heard about where they did everything the police asked them, but they still ended up dead?
That's right.
I mean, so not only does the intervention come with what you do at home, because I don't disagree with that. Like, I think we have a population, like the show before when they talked about 60% of Black males having a record. Like, we definitely have a population of Black men that are lost. And I don't know why, there's various reasons why, but every time you turn on the TV and you look at a Black brown face, and they did do the crime. They were shooting. That wasn't a white guy that killed that guy out in Southfield. That was a group of young Black men that killed that guy carjacking. So they're out here, and it really continues to disturb me. Like, how do we get to them? Because it's the few that is shaping the perception for all.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and that's where we are. That's what we're here. That's what we're here now in looking at our guests of 4 young Black men that are doing good and want to do good. See, there's a difference. Doing good and want to do good. I think
Chris, he said that change in the narrative is an excellent point. We need to hold the entertainment media accountable also in regards to the negative stereotypes depicted in music and movies.
I mean, and that's so true. But we allow that to happen to ourselves because we want to make it in Hollywood. We want to make this money. So we would take whatever we have to take to get to that place. But if we start pushing more movie producers who are of ourselves, like a Tyler Perry, and putting them, giving them roles that normal people play, husband and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends, whatever it may be, not just always a thug. Sometimes a thug is necessary in a movie now. It's not saying they're not necessary, because they are, because that's real life.
Right,
you know what I mean?
But why can't they give that role to like a white person? Why it always have to be a Black person being a thug? You know what I'm saying?
We have shows that do that, but are we interested in those shows? Because back in the day we had the Cosby Show, and one of the things that Bill Cosby did that was so clever was he would always walk around in some type of HBCU apparel to promote historical Black colleges and universities. But
That's right.
now we have Blackish. We have shows like that, but are we tuning into those shows? Because one of my favorite shows right now is All Rise, and the Black judge, there are so many good topics on that show about the criminal justice system that goes on right now today in society. And if we were to tune in, it would give us motivation, it would give us hope, it would empower us to want to do something in real life. Even though they're depicting real life, it would make us want to do something. At least for me, it does. It's what we choose to entertain.
That's right. I mean, we're in a society now that, is almost to the degree where, and this is just my opinion. This is my opinion, where Black men aren't the emotionalists. They don't have emotions. They're just hard, cold people, and they probably done that violent act. You know what I mean? We're not looked at as that we have feelings, and we're actually good people if you get to know us. You know what I mean? Our kids are the same, our sons are the same. So it's like that. It's that coldness with Black men and Black young boys. This society push towards. So it's like almost like if somebody said he did it, he probably did. Is that mentality now? Yeah, if he did it, he probably did. So we have to. It's gonna have to start with us. And the reason why I'm targeting our Black men, and because this young boy was innocent. He did everything right. He played. In fact, kudos to him because he didn't fight her back. He could have. I'm quite sure he could have overpowered. He was a big boy. He could have overpowered her if he wanted to. But guess what? That wasn't the emotions that he displayed. He didn't show himself as being a violent person. He didn't even react to it so quick. It's almost like he wasn't used to what just happened. He didn't even expect it. It was so confusing to this young man. If you've seen the footage, play that footage while we're talking. If you've seen it, if she grabbed him, he like almost to the degree like, what's going on? And he's still trying to process this while while this woman is actually tackling him. You know what I mean? He's processing like, oh my God. So it goes to show you that this young man was not a violent young man. Trust me, if he was used to that, he probably would have gave her a 2-piece or a 3-piece, if you know what I mean. He would have stacked her right on up with a 2-piece and a biscuit. You know what I mean? Depending on the right guy, but didn't show that. Right. It didn't show that he was that type of person. So what can we say? All Black men aren't violent. Just because they're Black men or Black, that don't mean that they're violent. That don't mean that they're even fighters. And
like the difference is like even after this, monstrosity that we're going to get into later about the Capitol, like even after that, we're still not going to think of all white men as militia type ready to take over the government. You know what I mean? Like white men will still have a place in society where they're protected. And like I say, that's my issue. Like, yes, we do have, the criminal element within our culture, but it's the unfairness is to attribute that small population to the entire group of people. Like all Black men are not criminals, ready to snatch your purse, ready to take your phone, ready to beat you down, but somehow unfairly. And again, it definitely has its historical roots. And really that's what puts us behind the 8-ball, because we've been fighting this battle since we got over here. We've been fighting this, since we were brought over here as slaves. We've been fighting this defense against being lazy, being ignorant, being an animal of sorts. We've been fighting that image since we were brought over here, and we continue to fight.
That's right.
Most definitely.
That's right. We got another comment, I think.
I'm going to read comment from Chaz Harris. We need you We just need balanced entertainment. America loves gangster, rags to riches, film / music, etc. But we just have the other side shown more often.
And that's true. And that's true. We do need balance because some pictures, you're going to need a thug in the movie. You know what I mean? You're going to need a thug that they play a part in that movie, but like you said, that, but it just shows one side more than the other, and it's stereotypes, you know what I mean? Where now they believe that if it's a thug. Now, notice, here's the thing. This was one of the things that I was taught in school. When I was in the media program, they taught us that if you notice that they never really show, if they turn on the TV, if you turn on the TV and they show the commercial of an alarm system, but before the alarm, they talk about the product, they always show somebody breaking in. You notice the color is always a white guy, because they can't show a black guy breaking into the property. You would never, if you see it, it's very rare, which I've never seen it, because they can't, they're stereotyped. You get what I mean? So it's this thing that they do play in the media. So if they talk about drug addiction, you won't see, you'll see always the a switch out on the race, and that's something that they do in terms of, so they won't stereotype. So they understand the game. But when it comes to, you would think they would use the same thing in violent movies, but would it be the same? I mean, keep it 100. Would it really be the same to see white thugs? Yeah, I mean, we made that narrative. We built that storyline out.
I mean, we have. Look at how many young black people idolize Scarface.
That's right.
And I mean, Scarface, again, like one of our viewers said, I think was Cuban, or the portrayal was of a Cuban or Puerto Rican or somewhere in there. Okay. So, I mean, I think you did, and then even that, you got the Untouchables and that whole crew of white, gangsters, but again, Italian gang, the Italian mob, and the casino, all those movies portray the mob or some type of mob-like, criminal, gangster-like. But again, the unfairness is that they're able to portray that, but not have every white man or every Italian or every what's the other Irishman be looked at in the same way. Somehow, when we have someone who commits a criminal act, it's like, there go them black folks again. Like, why can't you look at us, and look at us as an individual, or look at us as a genre, like you do to white people. I don't, that part, it just continues to baffle me. But again,
it's like the gentleman said, as how society looks at us. The media obviously have a lot to play in this, in our communities, and some of it may be truth. We're not going to say all of it is not truth. Some of it may be truth. But it's truth on both sides. They're white thugs like they're black thugs. You get what I mean?
There's thugs in the government.
Yes,
so we're gonna get into that.
That's right. We're gonna talk. That's a
I
whole
wanted
other issue.
I wanted to ask Miss Burke, Miss Burks. I know that you're a proud mom. I'm just curious. Like, did you have steady father figures in your sons' lives? Were you ever concerned about, a woman being able to raise a boy into a man?
I was definitely concerned about that. And my oldest son told me that when he turned 16, he was like, I want to go live with my dad because you can't raise a man. And at that time, I was just like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. No, no, you can't.
Wow.
Because there's just some things that a father can teach their son that a mother cannot. So I will say all the way up until 12 years ago, there was a steady father figure in my son's life. Their dad was there, but he passed away from complications of
I'm sorry to hear that.
diabetes. So it was just us four, and it stayed that way until they all moved out. So the village was the alternative.
That's right.
The village.
That's right.
You have to have a village.
That's right.
Because God didn't intend for us to do anything on our own. So you have to lean on your village, whether it's grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, brother, auntie, uncle, or how we call it, our cousins. Them, you have to depend and lean on your village, because without them, I don't think I would be where I'm at with my four sons.
Wow, that's good. Kudos to you and your family. We have another comment. Let's read this one.
Go ahead. Anybody see that? Okay, I'll read it. Hollywood needs to make Black actors go into space, fight aliens, fight for their families, and stop limiting us to the gangster roles, drug dealers, and even Black presidents facing end of the world natural situation. Laugh out loud, movie buff, but the truth that the Black imagination has been destroyed has shown Black people will be limited in every aspect of life. Art emanates life.
Well, see, here's the thing to that. And I've always thought that too. But you know what? The conclusion that I came up with is that Black people have to start creating their own. They have to start creating their own. We can't rely on these industries to do it for us, to tell us that we can't go to the moon as an actor. You know, we have to. Well, listen, there's cameras out here. It's connecting with the right people and creating these stories ourselves. You have a world of green screen people. That's what we have: green screen, digital. I mean, it's so much that we have to do, but we're still trying to learn how to be accepted in a country that don't want to accept us to some degree. So
well, go ahead.
I love how you say create your own. I had a conversation with my four boys last year, and I explained to them, yes, I know all of you guys have life insurance through your jobs. That's not enough. I need you to have life insurance outside of your job. And I need you to have enough life insurance to cover all of your debt. And where we don't get a hand up is where other races do get a hand up, because their parents will set them up with life insurance. Whereas if they were to pass away, okay, I'm going to leave you this, and this. And that allows them to be able to advance in society economically. So this year, I told them, everybody got life insurance last year. This year, my expectation of them is to create their own generational wealth through real estate. I need all four of you to purchase a home this year.
Wow,
so we have to create our own in order to catch up. I'm not even saying getting on the same level playing field, but to even just catch up, we have to go out and we have to work 10 times harder. We have to be 10 times smarter. We have to create it ourselves.
That's true.
I remember, and I think, like you said, Tone, I think in a couple of podcasts you mentioned it a few times about how, of course, creating the stories that we want to create, but also, when we create these stories, supporting each other.
Yeah.
Because we know there's a lot of entrepreneurs in our community that are screenwriters and create movies and stories that are just not the gangster. And because when I look on, to be honest, when I look on YouTube, when I see some of these short stories that get the most hits, it's the hood stories that they keep creating. Sometimes we create those, and I see those with the most hits that draw the most interest, and people keep creating because there's an interest as opposed to. But I see the other stories, but I don't see a lot of hits.
Yeah.
When I don't see a lot of support for those stories. And another point, I don't know if y'all mentioned it, please forgive me if you have. I remember, because I think about the role in terms of our boys and how the media frames, black males. And I was thinking about that, when I was in education, I had a lot of Caucasian teachers who would come from suburbia, and they would come to our community and educate our young people. And as I began to, an unofficial poll, their images, their intimate interaction with black folk was initially when they went to college, and all the other images is from the news. And the news will start off a story. You see Detroit, somebody got shot, somebody got killed, somebody got carjacked, somebody got robbed. So now our
the whole screen.
Right. The white, a lot of whites, their frame of reference for us is these images from the news. So either the news exaggerates some things about the black community, or they underrepresent us. They don't always tell the whole story, or they don't always tell the background or what led to certain outcomes. So now people get this picture. Now if they come out and say, oh, these Negroes don't want to learn, or they all acting a fool, they want to fight, they want to sell drugs, and all those things. So I think the media play a large role in, how they frame, our community.
RW3, RW3, I 100% agree with you. I'm going to piggyback off of that. When we allow the media to do that, that's our fault. We have to hold them accountable, just like we have to hold politicians accountable. Do not let your local newscast portray us like that. And when we get in those positions and we have those platforms, it is up to us as journalists and news broadcasters to change the narrative. You don't have to go with what your station is telling you to go with. If they, I know you want to be the first person to report the story out, but do your job and report the story and report it with facts. You don't have to. For decades, should I say, since the beginning of time, the media that is, has always steered it to sway you to think one way and not the other way. But we could put a stop to that. It's what do we entertain? Just like everybody jumping off ship and we've stopped watching Fox because we have known that Fox is this station that is going to portray Black people in a certain light. Stop watching that news. And when we hit their pockets, that's when they'll change their tune. Hold them accountable for what they're reporting and how they are swaying the public or society to think one way against one certain culture or one certain race. We have to start holding people accountable.
Well, I think in the day and age that we are in now, like that opportunity is great, right? Because before, I think all of us are old enough where I can say we remember the time when TV actually went off, when, your options were basically, if we're all from Detroit, 2, 4, and 7, maybe 50 and 20 and 62, 50, 56. That was it. And so there was greater control they had greater control of the narrative. But now in the day and age of all these social media platforms, I mean, even just taking a look at like all these different groups with these conspiracy theories, that's why, we've heard everything under the sun about Corona, 5G, microchips, whatever. I mean, news, opinions, all of that is out there for the grab. So my point is not to make it negative, but just to say that the opportunity for us to push a positive narrative is great because we're not limited like we were back in the day.
That's right. It's imperative that we start our own. It really is. Now I am going to say this. Because I play both sides of the coin. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy when you're dealing with a media who that's what makes people watch the news. Chaos. They look
entertainment.
chaos is driven in this society, especially through our media. Look at CNN and look at night news, and all you hear is just drama. You sometimes have to just turn it off. Nobody's gonna watch it if it's not. And see, here's the thing, you know, when in terms of hitting their pockets, that'll never happen. They'll never be broke. If you understand who runs the media, that'll never happen. They'll never be broke. It don't matter if you all turn them off. They still gonna have money. You know what I mean? But my thing is, it's not even focusing in that area, but just trying to figure out how to build your own, how to build your own now. Here's the thing. Even when you tie into the media, you're going to tie into them. So you're going to see them one way or another because they own everything. The media, I can't even use the name. This page that gets shut down just by me saying who owns the media. Everybody should know who owns it. They run the same people who run the media, same people who run the Hollywood, same people who run the Hollywood, same people who run this bank system, same people running the bank system, same people who run in your Federal Reserve. I mean, we know who these people are. You can look at Nick Cannon. Look at Nick Cannon. Shut him down. Boom. Overnight. Shut him down. So what am I saying? We have to start to some degree. I'm not going to say it's easy, but we have to figure this thing out. We have to figure this thing out and not depending on that source. You know what I mean? Figuring out, I don't know how that's going to happen. I know we have some intelligent black men out here who know how to code or who know how to do something when it comes to via the internet or whatever. I know we have some, but power is power. What is that? Numbers are power. Yeah. You know, so when you have numbers, you can get something done, but you have to, you got to figure that one out. When you come against the media, that's a beast right there. They locked this thing down for centuries. But you know what, guys? I digress from that. Yeah. We got to go ahead.
This real quick. Go ahead. And another piece of that is, you know, the sponsors. I think we have enough power as African American people. I think one podcast we talked about how much we generate in terms of spending power, and you notice they move when the sponsors talk about, I'm pulling my sponsorship. Just think about on Fox. You remember how Bill O'Reilly was buck wild? But once those sponsors, people start saying, I'm not going to support those sponsors, and those sponsors were threatening to pull out, Bill O'Reilly, he's off the air. Gone. And the same thing with Hannity. They love him. So long as those sponsors and those numbers are up, but if the sponsors pull out, that'll make a change. But we have the power to pull our dollars from those sponsors in those slots to put pressure on the sponsors. But like you said, Tone, before, you mentioned us being organized and focused on one page to get things to move like we would like them to move.
Yeah, and that's the reality to me. That's the reality to me. This is a big banking system. These people, look at Amazon. This guy owns everything now. He's probably past a billionaire. I mean, and he's not our color.
Amway. I know I'm getting off topic, but I've been meaning to say this for a while. Amway. Y'all remember Amway?
Yes. Yeah. Pyramid schemes.
Right.
No, Amway was what Amazon is essentially. They were the first ones to kind of come out the gate with the whole delivery system of your groceries.
Yeah, but they passed them now. He passed them now. He way past them.
But aren't they black owned?
Who?
Amway.
No. No.
Okay.
I think they connected to that.
Your people don't own that. I'm just playing with you. You know your people don't own that. I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing with you. You know better than that. We'll take it though.
I know we're trying to move on, but and this is the other point. You know, we are a collective people. Even though we've mixed with different races and that and this, that, and the third, I think and I'm speaking specifically about descendants of slaves, because I know we have other blacks in the diaspora, but I'm talking about descendants of slaves. We are a collective people. And I think that for what it was worth, we have to find a way to get back to that collectivism thinking. And going back to RW3's point and Tone, your point, in terms of how do we like stop fighting for who's the chief? How do we set our differences aside and say, okay, as a collective, these are our values, and they have to rise above the gangster, Tony Montana, whatever, and when we lost the church, and I'm not saying that it's totally gone, but there are a lot of us that don't have religion at the forefront, that don't have that, you know what I mean? And I think that was a very critical piece in our history and in our culture, that kind of kept us as a collective. And now that so many of us have kind of veered from the church, we continue to be lost. We continue to be in many different directions versus like a collective direction. So
and check this out. And I think we've had so many podcasts. So over the last like 3 weeks, I saw a video. I did a little research on it. And to your point, Lovely T, when we talk about the collective, initially we was talking about Black Lives Matter, right? Now I find out Black Lives Matter is not, how the NAACP is. There's an NAACP, a national board of directors, money come in. They said with the Black Lives Matters, I was seeing how they got one faction. So when you sending it, you're not sending money to support an individual group. Each local group, they're operating differently. They got different factions. So when I was looking at the interview, the host was saying, he said, well, why don't y'all get a board of directors and president and let's get some organization? They pushed against it. So now it's even more dysfunctional because they're saying, well, how do we know? And the two people that were being interviewed, I think one in North Carolina, one in another state, well, we don't know what these people are doing when money coming in. We don't know where this money at. We don't know what's going on with this. So there's not one incorporated, one voice of Black Lives Matter.
Oh, it's like a franchise almost.
It's like people just are operating almost independently, and the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And ultimately, that awesome movement, because of money coming in and so many different things, is not going to be powerful because we're not moving as one.
And that's what Black people do a lot. Well, they don't unify.
Yeah, but I think that would be more so because of beliefs. I think that narrative has been torn into because of the belief systems of each one, and they don't want to represent that belief system. They want to just focus on theirs, so just focus on that.
Almost like a church,
and they left that to be decided that way. It's some things that I think, and we were going off into a whole nother subject, and I get that. What's this statement right here? We can read this one here and then go into our next topic.
We have always done this from Ida B. Wells and her paper, the Freedmen Savings Bank. The St. Luke's Penny Savings Bank, which is still operating under a different name today, Tulsa, Wilmington, Black Bottom in Detroit, just to name a few more. Collective empowerment has always been a part of our community, but many of these were disrupted by racist institutions. We also don't teach enough of all, he capitalized all, of our history so young people know what we have done throughout history. Thank you, Mr. Stephen Broyles. We really appreciate that. Good knowledge.
Amen.
Here's another one.
Amen to that.
And Nate, reborn through Jesus. Our community doesn't know how to teach those to play a supportive role because society has made us have to fight so hard, to get a piece of something. We don't know how to feel satisfied, accomplished, or successful being behind the scenes where it really matters. Thanks, Nate.
Wow, these are some great comments. These are some real great comments today that's coming in. These are some strong comments.
But guys, before we go, though,
go ahead.
Before we go, if it's somebody out there watching now that have Black sons, is there any way, like something that we can tell them? Because I know it's been a couple times where we will go out in public and sometimes they will we will see a couple young men look at you kind of like sideways. They look kind of like something is up, like they're trying to get into something. Is there any way that we can kind of give some type of pointers or advice for how they should kind of carry themselves even in public when you already looked at a certain way? What are some things that we can tell them if anybody's watching?
Well, I mean, I just think that for me having a son, I just make sure, and it's a shame we even have to have this conversation, right? It's a shame that we have to have this conversation, but it's relative, it's relevant. We should have it. But me having a young son, I mean, just a year older, I think, than the boy was 14, right?
Yeah, our son
just
is 15,
just a year older than him. Even he's really a homebody, but even when those days he didn't get his hair cut, I don't want him going out with his hair looking crazy. I'll say, put a hat on your head before you go out, because you ain't trimmed up right now. Put your hat on, or just look and make sure that your clothes is clean. You know what I mean? And all that stuff. I mean, I don't have to talk about his vernacular because he's pretty well-to-do in that area. But just
the way you
the
look,
present, how he present, his presenting himself, make sure that, and that's all you really can do, and just have respect for other people. And guess what? This is the common thing that you would say to any little young boy. It's not just because you're Black. I'm telling him general things that any young boy should know. Be respectful. You know what I mean? Be respectful to all people. How you've been taught when you left this house.
And make sure when you go into the stores, you just don't stand around.
Yeah.
It's certain things you have to say on every area.
Can't do. Because it's suspect. Even the Black people, y'all know this. Don't pretend like we don't know. We look at people, our own people. I remember a while ago that this was a long time ago. It was some years ago. Yeah. I went into this particular store. It was over on Warren, and I think Warren and Greenfield. It was a CVS. I was over in that area, and I was in the store, and I see all these young Black men come into the store, and I was a little bit, my mind, and it's a shame I had to feel this way. I did look, to see what's going on, and kept my eye on the whole situation, because I was feeling some type of way, as young people say. They looked a little suspect, but maybe they were. Maybe it was just me, and I left. I was doing a money transaction, I think through MoneyGram or something. And so that made me my heightened because the type of money I was putting through there. So it made me feel, I'm looking at everything. And then, I left. But that played off in my mind. I said, man, why did I have to feel that way? I did analyze the situation. I looked at me and said, why did I have to feel that way? Why did I have to feel that way? So, I mean, we know what's out there. That, we help build that narrative. And we have, we help, I think the media still play it, but even though the media has played it, we still, as Black people, have driven our car through the hood. We've driven our car through different places, and we know nobody can pretend like we haven't driven our car in other areas that we know is a little tense in areas, and they do some weird stuff. So I'm not just going to say the media has a lot to play in it, but we have to change the narrative. That's not every young Black man. Just because them young Black men are in that community don't mean they feel that way. It's just that's how life's been given, have been put in front of them, but I digress from that. We like to thank our guests.
Thank you for joining us.
And you made it through. You actually made it through this conversation. We was light on you. We wasn't heavy on you. We was light on you. And we like to thank you for coming out
Thank you for having me.
To give your story on the platform. And we will talk to you maybe soon. Who knows? Maybe
Most
we'll get a
definitely.
report on how things are going with your black men. Because I want to talk more about black men and show a positive narrative of what's
Most
going on.
definitely.
So I mean, even though it's already out here, so we're
Yeah.
not the only platform. It's people who talk about young black men and they're making it. But maybe we should do something,
have 'em on the
a
show,
pod on
too.
something like that, where we bringing young black men on to tell their story, and them themselves telling their stories, you know, and maybe we might bring someone on who's young, who did time and came out and gotten their life together, you know, because that doesn't mean because you went to prison, you were a bad person. You just made bad decisions. That doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person, you know, so we shouldn't look at them as a threat, like another person would look at, you know, and you know, they gotten their lives together, you know, so, and I know some of them like that right now, who's doing good, who's doing business, who own businesses, you know, and hey, listen, they just hustled the wrong way. You know, they hustled the wrong way, but if they transfer their dollars and think another way, hey, you make some money. So listen,
if you're interested in doing that platform, let me know. Reach out to me in the future, because what I do now is I volunteer at the Damascus House here in Maryland, and we have returning male citizens in our program, and we're working on teaching them entrepreneurial skills and helping them become homeowners. So if you guys want to do that in the future, just let me know. And
we're gonna be in touch with you.
See, I didn't know that. See, that's a direct connection, and that's what we're going to do. That's what I want to do. So we're going to definitely keep in contact. Listen, I say that word, we're going to keep in contact a lot, but we're going to really keep in contact with you, because I need that. I need people to see that it's people out here who's willing to help, and these black men, black young men who want help and want to do better. You know, just life was dealt differently to them, and they had to survive, so to speak. You know what I mean? So we definitely gonna reach back out to you. We thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Kudos to raising 4 great black young men.
That's right.
And we thank you. We really do, Mom. We really do. We thank you for that.
Well, let me just share with you that it's unfortunate that I have to tell my sons this, but this is what I have been telling them the last couple of years. Hold your head up, hold your pants up with a belt, and if you're pulled over by the police, hold your hands up.
Oh, wow. That's good.
That's real.
That's good. You need to put that on the t-shirt.
Oh, yes, you do.
You need to put that on the t-shirt and print it out. Real quick. You know, that could be something in that now. Come on now. There could be something in that.
What was it again?
Hold your head up, hold your pants up with a belt, and if you're pulled over by the police, hold your hands up.
That's right.
That's good. I like that.
Good.
I like
awesome.
that. All right.
Thank you, Katina.
You're welcome.
And we're going to reach out to you.
Most definitely.
All right. You take care.
All right.
All right. All right. Now we're going to get into it, guys. Lovely T had to get out to get her something to drink because she know she got to get her throat together for this one. Guys, listen. We're going to keep the pod going on, and I mean, we've seen it in the news. I mean, it's all over the news. And I want our producer to put it up now. Let's move a little fast and putting up this next topic. Just going on right now with this coup d'etat. This taking place in the Capitol is almost like you need your popcorn and a cold drink of lemonade.
I want them freezy drinks, Coca-Cola mixed with some strawberry pop or something.
To see this acting going on and this performance that's definitely going on. I mean, do we have anything ready to go?
Well, I don't have anything, but I mean, she can go on YouTube.
All you gotta do is take your pick and just put it up real quick and look at what's going on. What is the topic to this? Are we just going? This is
our open discussion.
Okay, open discussion. As we can see what's going on. I mean, I guess we're even tired of even seeing it. Otherwise you just get tired of seeing it, of what's going on. But the question that I would bring up, did Donald Trump
orchestrate this?
Did he orchestrate this? Is this an act? Is this something that's directly coming from Donald Trump in terms of what we're seeing now? And should he be impeached? Should he be impeached for what's going on now? Did he incite a riot? Which to some the case I think can be a felony. Can it be a felony to incite a riot? You know, did he stage a coup d'etat?
Into proven guilty.
Well, here's the thing. Is it a coup d'etat? I mean, was it something that was planned to hijack the Capitol, what we seeing now? What do we think? Should he, right now, Nancy Pelosi talking about impeaching this man. Should he be impeached? Is that a smart move? You know, or you know, what do we think about that? And guys, just talk about this.
Yeah. I think even regardless of the outcome, I think they are doing the right thing with proceeding with the impeachment process, because he should be held accountable. Like this, like he should be held accountable. I so believe that, you know, he had a part to play. You know, you had some Republican senators saying, you know, everybody is responsible for their own actions. They're grown. And that's true. But he had a serious part to play, and he should be held accountable for it.
You know, I got my own opinions in a lot of this stuff right here. But what do you think, RW3?
But just to kind of get it going a little bit, like Lovely T, because I know she got more in her. She just touched y'all up a little bit with a little bit. So I'm gonna do a little bit. I just think for those who made the statement that every adult is responsible for their own action, so that means we may as well get rid of the RICO Act, because guess what? You've had kingpins of criminal organizations, you know, who never actually pulled the trigger and killed somebody, but the RICO charge, because you're over the organization and you are the one that influenced all of the movement or directed people to do certain things, although you didn't do it, because people that are kingpins generally would never get charged because they never actually pull the trigger to commit the murders, but RICO allows them to be prosecuted as well. So when I think of this argument about they're grown, I consider him under RICO. He's the head of all of that, an influencer of all of this nonsense, and I do think he should be held accountable.
Okay, let me ask you this. So let's look at the Black Lives Matter movement. Let's look at all these burning down buildings and tearing up Black people's, destroying their businesses. I mean, these Black people like, please don't come to your own community and tear it up. You know, we have to live here. I mean, I got to play both sides. Where now, here's the thing, where you've seen Black people who will actually say, wait a minute, we came in here with a peaceful protest, and these jokers, these other people just showed up tearing up stuff, and knowing they knew we were coming to march for black rights. We had a right intent on what we were doing, and these people just made it and astrobated it so that it will grow so big now that now it's out of hand. It's just gone out of hand. Now people are dying. Now buildings are coming down. How come we can't say the same thing is going on here? How can we can't use the same?
So who would be the point person that we're gonna hold accountable for that? Who is it, Tone? Who will be the person?
Well, I mean, they already held those people accountable. They saying Black Lives Matter.
I mean, who? Who is the?
Well, it would be whoever this.
Who's the person that you can refer to that you can look at that either directly or remotely suggested that folks should go in and do those things?
Well, I mean,
who's that person?
Well, there's not a person per se. There's a movement, which is actually worse. You see what I mean? Because this is a movement that you can't really, it's out of control. So now I guess what I'm saying is
about the
this,
Black
right?
Lives Matter movement, Tom. I'm just trying to keep the
Well, what I'm saying is I'm trying to play both roles. I'm saying
Mhm.
that this, just like this is just what's going on. Nothing is just one-sided. I never believe that something is just one-sided. And I don't think that something is just that obvious as what you see, because I understand who owns the media. I get who owns the media, and I get how they like to incite chaos and everything else to put fear in people. So I get that narrative from them. They've been doing it for centuries. I mean, flat out centuries. So I get that part. Me understanding that, just like the Black Lives Matter movement, that I understood that it wasn't black people who were moving in and burning up these buildings and tearing up. In fact, you've seen other people, other races involved in tearing this up, tearing up these properties and going back to their own suburban communities, just like you see here. Yeah, this man did say, go and go. We have to put it up. I don't know. I can't quote him verbatimly.
He
I
said
can't
we
do
have
that.
to fight. He said we have to fight. He said go. You need to march down to the Capitol,
Right.
and we have to fight.
But it doesn't mean fighting. You mean thinking it mean fighting like go down there and tear up stuff?
Listen, for the opportunists, all they need is just a hint of a permission, and they're gonna take full advantage of it. And so, Tom, I agree that maybe like again, we have to be careful. Like every Trump supporter were not the ones that went into the Capitol and did what they did. Just like in the Black Lives Matter movement, they said that most of the Black Lives Matter protesters were peaceful. It was the what are they were calling the agitators, that a smaller like subgroup that actually was going and burning the buildings and stuff like that. So I mean, I get your point. If that's what your point is that all of these people, like we shouldn't say all of these people were Trump supporters. They could have been a subgroup of agitators that, again, they were given the opportunity and they took full advantage of the opportunity. But I still say that Trump needs to be held accountable for fueling the flame and giving those people permission. The difference between them and the Black Lives Matter movement is you never saw any head of the Black Lives Matter movement publicly saying, let's go fight. Let's go tear stuff down until we're heard. You didn't hear them say that, but you heard this 45 say that. So,
well, see, here's the thing. Now, my job is to make people think. That's also I'm putting out there. So, what would be his recourse? Why would he do that? What would be his reason to tell him to go tear up, to stop what was about to happen? What would be his justifiable reason for him doing that?
I'm glad you said that. The same reason Hitler. He's a dictator.
That's not a reason.
Dictators, I compare him to Hitler. He's a dictator. He wants to hold on to power. Because of that, he wants to cause insurrection and civil war. I mean, just like Hitler. That's why.
For what reason?
Huh?
But how does that benefit him?
So he can stay in power, Tom.
How? Because nobody's going to look what's happened now. People is actually rejecting him. That's actually hurting him more than helping him.
But I'm glad you said that. But that's in his mind on the front end. He actually thought that would make a difference. That's what I'm saying.
You really believe that?
Oh yeah. Oh, without a question.
So let me say this.
I think it was the whole family.
Okay, let me ask you this. When have you ever seen any of this ever happen in any other president before?
Never.
Exactly. You've never seen this, right? So now let me ask you this. Here we have a president. Before election, before it was time for him to go out, he started talking about these frauding the ballots. He started talking about this almost probably a year before this even happened. He started talking about this, almost setting a narrative. He already started using his Twitter when he first came on to start building and building and putting out. And you've never seen this before. I mean, never ever seen this before. So we just think that this a president just going to fall out of the sky. And this man is going to go against his own career. He's just going to destroy his own career just because he feels some type of way. And we just buy it. We just buy into it, just like we buying into this Democrat thing and this Republican thing. What am I saying? I'm telling you that history, now let me tell mine. History has proven that there's never been a president who've made decisions on their own. History has proven this. It's always been, listen, even Russia, president say that the president don't call their own shots. When they get back, when they get elected, they go behind them walls. It's people to come up there and tell them what they gonna do. So let me say this. You actually think that this president is just coming up with these thoughts as I don't even think he's that intelligent to do all this, to be honest. So my mindset is, you really believe that this president is behind all of this, to telling you, hey, I want y'all to do this, and they just go do it. He just coming up with these thoughts in the back of his mind, and then and it's obvious. It's very obvious. This man is setting himself up for failure. Why would he do that? Why would you think he gonna do that to himself? Donald Trump hit. Listen, there's a word called propaganda. Whether you want to believe it or not, propaganda. Germany was faced with propaganda.
Yeah.
To the United States of America. They made Germany look like they were eating babies just so they can go to war. And guess what? A president who went on that he would never put another black man, I'm about to go back. He would never put a black young man in war. He was the same president who put these people in war. Woodrow Wilson put them in war. He went to war because of what was going on. And this man was forced, because of the dealings of his own past, people got to him. And I can go on and tell you about another one who he was taken out. He was assassinated after the statement he made about the banking system, which was the 20th president of the United States of America. He only held house for 100 days. And they took this man out when he talked about who really runs this country and who really is the say-so of this country. What am I saying? History have proven that these presidents don't call the shots. And it's money that calls the shots of people who back them. So now, here's the thing. I don't believe that what you see is what you see. Somebody just said that a computer, a laptop was just stolen out of the White House. I mean, out of the what's it called? It was stolen out, and they don't know who did it. They don't know if it was Russia, if it was other different people that came in and took stuff out that had to do with whatever it was. Listen, people can think what they want. Don't believe the hype. This man, and for some reason they don't want him to say nothing. They end his Twitter completely. His son get on and he tells them, he started talking about, hey, a minute, I don't know why y'all believe in this. Y'all buying all of this? Why is he's been censored for something? I don't want to quote words that they say, but it was a whole Twitter feed, and he trying to listen, how did this man benefit? How did he benefit for destroying his own life and just complaining, acting stupid? Do you actually believe that there's a human being? Well, they are human beings on this stupid. But my thing is that, do you really believe that he's going to do obvious stuff because he called the shots?
Well,
you're kidding yourself.
But I'm always going to be from the premise with him specifically. I will always, because I'm always from the premise that he's mentally ill. That's what I think. So when I say things, someone is mentally ill as what I think he is,
he wouldn't have made office.
He makes those decisions.
He wouldn't have made office if he was mentally ill. He wouldn't have made office if he, listen, we can't, and I'm always come from this perspective because I don't have a dog in the game. All I'm telling you is this. Democrats have taken over the House and Senate, and they took it on the House, and they said the president, Kamala Harris, she is the dividing between everything else. The Democrats have taken over. You know what I mean? The Republicans that shut down, but I wouldn't do this so quick. It ain't over. You go listen.
No, I mean, I've always said that we have to hold the Dems accountable. We have to hold whoever is in office accountable. And that's what I said.
Listen, you guys are gonna see, and I can't wait. You gonna see the distrust. You ain't seen nothing yet. This is bad cop, good cop. Let me tell you the narrative. Fact. I'm gonna put it out like this. This is the narrative. You seeing bad cop, so we can put in the good cop, who also is the bad cop, who probably even is the worser cop, but we got to make him look so bad that you gonna run to. Now, let's draw this narrative. Why, out of all the people who have a history of being a racist, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, have 26 years of being a racist and been proven on paper that this man is a racist towards black people, been proven that they will put this man in office who's going on 80 years old, who only probably going to get one more term.
He atoned. He said, yes, we were wrong for the crime bill.
No, I would atone too. But I would too. I would atone too. So
are you saying Trump didn't say that? So what are you saying? Are you saying that, you know, people are accountable for themselves? Trump has nothing to do with it?
I'm saying that the White House, the president of the United States, don't own their seat as a president. It's people that back them and influence them to get their narrative across to what they're trying to do in the beginning. It's always cause and reaction. It's always.
But
you're gonna see
that's the entire government. That's the president, the judiciary. That's all. The whole government is like that.
Like what?
Where, like, for example, you have what are the lobbyists, like everybody in government, Democrat, Senate, president, are all, there's something behind all of their agendas, not just the president.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's a big, listen, in order to get your world to comply to what they already have, there's storylines that set. There's documentaries that if I were to put these documentaries like other people have been doing, they'll shut this page down. They'll shut this. They have books on certain people that cost $40,000 in these books. And it's always connected to the president and to these group of people who run your country, who run your world.
If our 45 elected was forced, whatever the case may be behind the scenes, Tone, he still is the face of whatever that
it's supposed to be like
is that you're speaking of. So therefore, you the boss, you got to pay the cost to the boss.
But if
you're the face, you go down. Now, will they have somebody pop up? Probably so. If there's truly a machine behind
you don't believe that. If you don't believe that, then you will never
got to go.
If you don't believe that, then you will never understand World War I. If you don't believe that, you will never understand World War II. If you don't believe that, you will never understand the Balfour Agreement that the British did to get Israel and the Palestine. If you don't believe that there's a people, I want to say their name so bad. It's itching me so bad to say their name. But if you don't believe that, that's why this country is going to be taken over. The fact remains that you believe that our vote actually counts. that they don't have an agenda, and they so smooth that they know how to get you to vote for the people who they really want in office. They know how to do this. I mean, listen. How can let me pull this up real quick. There's a guy. He's a name. What's his name? James Garfield. This man was a president. We didn't even know who he was because he was assassinated. He was assassinated. He was the 20th president. He lasted 100 days in the White House. And after he made this speech, 2 weeks he died. And this same man, he made this statement. He said, can you see this? Because it's so little, right? My glasses is so, read that part right there.
Whoever controls the volume of money in our country is absolute master of all industry and commerce. When you realize that the entire system is very easily controlled one way or another by a few powerful men at the top, you will not have to be told how periods of inflation and depression originates.
See, listen, and they said 2 weeks after he made, this was a president, he was assassinated. 2 weeks after listen, there is a people, I'll say this, all you have to do, I made a statement. I said, if you want to keep people from things, all you have to do is keep them from reading. All you have to do is hide it in the book. And now all you have to do is hide it in a documentary because it's out here. There's a mother who said, if my sons don't want war, there won't be war. There's been presidents that said, if we eliminate and got rid of a certain group of people, there will be peace in our world. These are history. These are words that's been saying over and over again. Your politicians or your politics is not the way you think it is. It's not just these people say.
So is your argument that Trump has no accountability in what happened at the Capitol?
Right, that's the question.
Let me say this. Trump has as much as credibility as the men who are who is his puppet masters that tell him what to do. That's the authority that he has.
Who are they?
Or they will assassinate. Well, I can't ever tell you who they are.
That's what I'm saying. So we speaking about something that we can't hold accountable.
Well, you can't hold on, but listen to this. Wait a minute. Hold on, but look, what's wrong with you doing research though?
No, I'm saying.
Wait, let me say it. See, this is the narrative that most people who are asleep are. They never want to do the research. They just want to look at what's the reality in their eyes. You have to do the research.
All information is not good information. I mean, I could probably do research to support that claim, but in that research, are the sources reliable? Or is it just some other crackpot that has an opinion and pushing an agenda?
They coming from presidents and politicians. They're not coming from a Joe Blow. It's documented history from back to the 1800s.
But we do agree politicians and presidents are not always honest. Do you agree with that?
No, listen what I'm saying. Listen what I'm saying. You have to understand the society that you live in. If you think that when one president says something, that's the word, shame on you. You don't really know your government.
Like you said, it's not like he just got up there on the podium that day and incited violence. Like you said, he has been working on this narrative.
He hasn't been working on anything. The people that
working on this. He has been the face. So let me say it like that. Let me say it like that.
Okay, well, let me say this.
The face of this propaganda that started way back when he started talking about mail-in elections.
Well, why do you think I said that? Why do you think I made that statement?
As far as what?
Of me saying that it started way back. Because that's the minds that these people have. They know the agenda. It's called cause and effect. It's called put out a situation. We already know what the reaction going to be, and this is going to be our solution.
And let me tell you, when they was in Michigan, when they were at the Michigan Capitol with their guns inside the Michigan Capitol, that was the first test. I do believe it's a part of a plan. I do believe that the opportunists and the extremists out there have, but here's the thing. I cannot remove Trump from,
I know you can,
from being a part of that, because Trump built the road for these extremists to walk.
But that's how it should go. See, listen, I'm going on I want to go on record. I'm so glad this is recorded because this gonna come back. I know it's gonna come back. And guess what? I'm almost 100%. I'm 100% for sure that I already know how this is gonna play out.
How's it going to play out? So it's recording. What's going to happen?
Huh?
Tell us while it's recording. How's it going to play out?
I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now.
But I'm listening.
But I'm telling you now. All this is recorded. I'm telling you right now that is not going to play out. You about to run into a socialist society. That's where you about to go. That's why that's why Bernie Sanders was itching to get these checks out. That's why he wanted to get it and want to give out more. Listen, okay, I'll just say this. The Democrats are taking over the House and the Senate for a reason. You have a Democratic Party in the House for a reason. And it's not going to be the reason that you think it is. We think we all good. Matter of fact, if I want to throw biblical aspects into the Bible, in Ephesians 6 says, we fight not against flesh and blood, but against principalities in high places. But now here, see, so-called Christians who don't really know their Bible, they don't break down the Hebrew word of what it means in those areas. High places means in government. It doesn't mean that these are demons swooping down out of the sky. These are people that's in high places, that are in secret places, that runs your government. If you believe that this country is based on figureheads of presidents, then you done missed the whole ride. And I get it. You're supposed to, if you don't really, and I'm not talking to y'all. I'm just saying general people won't understand. I understand that. But your Bible records everything that's going on in this government right now. Every single solitary thing. If you believe that this president is the cause and the reaction behind everything, listen, I laid in my bed and I was hearing these, I don't know who it was that was playing on it. This man said so much, and some of the stuff was just lies that he was. Now here's the thing. We know that what Donald Trump did. I know what he did. But some of the stuff he said wasn't true. He was taking clips of just words that, like the news media be doing for years, sound bites, and putting it in so he can make it seem even worse. And I'm like, now, if you're going to tell the truth, tell the truth. Don't try to throw something in there to make this thing seem as though you're trying to fuel the fire. That's what he was doing. But the media are designed to do that. That's their job. Because guess what?
But the media wasn't even all. The media was covering the process, and then they of course
I'm not talking about just that day. Fox News
but you said cause and effect. You said cause and effect, and all the media was already covering that particular day for that particular process.
No, they've been doing it. They've been doing it for years. I'm not talking about just today. I'm talking about for years. They've been doing this. They've been showing only chaos. They do. That's their job.
But the media wasn't. The media. It wasn't like the media just chimed in when the riots started. The media had chimed in when Congress convened to go through the vote and validate the vote, and then all this mayhem unfolded while they were already covering it.
Hold on, let me do one of y'all numbers.
No twist
let me do one of y'all numbers. You really think the media don't cause and push out propaganda? You don't think they do?
Well,
I can't hear it.
Sure.
Huh?
They do for a fact.
Oh, have they been doing it all along? Even in Donald Trump's situation?
They've been doing it forever.
Okay, so what is she saying? Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm
saying on that, for that particular incident, yes, we know there is a machine. So I'm making a couple of points. I'm not disagreeing with you. There is a machine. It's not just
what would change the narrative now?
But what was the question?
What would change the narrative? So I'm giving you facts of people. I've given you in court of law, you're supposed to prove a fact. Okay, so so in court of law, you're supposed to prove a fact. So I'm giving you two facts. I'm giving you Woodrow Wilson, who in terms of history, you got to go look at the history of it, because we don't have this podcast ain't long enough for me to bring down the Balfour Agreement, the British, and how they took over Palestine, but they infiltrated through Woodrow Wilson for him to get start a war, who wasn't even about starting a war, but they looked in his past and bribed this man to get their agenda done so they could take over Palestine. That's one thing that you just got to do the research. I can't help it if you don't.
I'm still trying.
Hold on, but let me finish. Let me
Trump and
hold on.
The Capitol.
I done already told you. You keep missing the point. I told y'all this. I went on James Garfield, who was assassinated after he talked about big business. running this country. He said it. I didn't say it. The president of the United States of America said it himself. Wait a minute. Here's another one. I think, what was the other president? He made the quote. Well, you probably can pull it up. He said, I think before he died, he said, what is your legacy that you want to leave? He said, I beat the banks. Before he died, he was a president. You could look up the quote. That was his whole premise. Everybody know. Well, not everybody. But those who understand, who did the research, they understand that this world is driven by money, by big banks. They control this world. That's it. Flat out.
So,
Nobody else.
So do you feel that the Republican Party is somehow more pure in intent than the Democratic Party?
No.
Like, because it seems like you're saying because the
though?
Democratic Party is in office, that somehow we are now headed towards some socialist society that's driven by a machine of billionaires.
On that. This is what I'm gonna do, because I can't show you. But see, here's the thing. You got to actually sit down and watch.
The Republicans, if the office played a different way, would not the Republicans have the same damn agenda?
No, listen.
Like,
to
what makes it unique to Democrats?
Well, you gotta let me explain. Let me tell you why. Okay, so here's the thing. Now, obviously, like me and thousands of other people, I didn't vote. Because now here's the thing. Somebody made a statement that made a lot of sense. He said that when people said if you didn't vote, that means that you can't complain. He said, no, that's totally wrong. If you voted, you can't complain, because when you voted, you agreed to everything that this president said he was for. So you actually sign on to say you agree with him. So yeah, no, you can't complain. But the person who didn't vote can't complain, because listen, I didn't want you in office in the first place. So here's the thing. I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I didn't vote for Sleepy Joe. Didn't vote for neither one of them. Okay, now here's the thing. Because I understand that both of them are playing off each other. Donald Trump, you can pull this man up in friendships with Joe Biden as well as with Hillary Clinton. In fact, this man used to be a Democrat. He's been friends with these people. You think his money, here's the thing. You actually believe that these billionaires who have nothing to lose is at odds with one another? You crazy. These people stick together. They already know the game. You the one who poor. You the one who broke. They got all the money. They not sitting here arguing at each other. And matter of fact, I doubt they really even disagree with one another because of the money that they hold and the friendship that they have. They know that this is a game. This is a game to the people or to certain players, but we don't get it. It's almost like a rapper. I'll say this. It's almost like a rapper who gets you to believe he still live in the hood, and your little son still listening to rapping and believing what this man say, and he just doing it now because it's all about money. So your son actually go out and kill somebody, but his son going to private schools, just like what's his name?
And he should be held accountable for putting it out there.
The owner of Def Jam said his daughters would never listen to rap music. He said his daughters would never listen to rap music, but he made money off of it. This is the same game that's been played. It's just politics. It's just politics. Now, here's the thing. No, listen. You don't have to agree. Listen, here's the thing, right? You don't have to agree with me, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to send y'all both documentaries. I'm going to load you up. And I'm going to see if you actually going to sit down and watch these 3-hour documentaries so that you can, and listen, you get the, I don't need to understand because I get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send them to you. I can't put them on here. You can say, I know we playing the podcast game, but this will get shut down like other pages have.
Are these documentaries on YouTube?
They on YouTube.
So why aren't they shut down on YouTube?
Well, the thing is that Facebook, I'll send it to you. I can't. You just got to learn the politics of this game. I can't.
I'm not even really sure what. I don't.
But why you just
I
can't watch
get
it?
what you're saying. I just don't see.
Hold on, why you just can't watch the documentary?
Well, I'm interested.
I mean, I'm interested too, but I'm just saying, like, do you feel Donald Trump is what's the word I'm looking for? Is excused? I don't have a better word. Excused from what happened at the Capitol.
Frankly, you know that old saying, what was his name? My man to say, frankly, I don't give a damn. That's me right now. I can care less about him running. I could care less if they ran in and did whatever they did because it's not my fight. I don't have nothing to do with it.
If democracy is not, if you don't really, I guess
Black people.
Like, if we don't have a democracy, and I need this.
This is not black people's fight. This has never been your fight. In fact, you don't listen.
Well, tell that to the people in Georgia. Tell that to the people in Georgia.
Black people, this is not your fight. You're making it your fight, but it's not your fight. In fact, you need to sit back and just chill out and watch what's going to happen. Black people, this not your fight. And I'm not the only one who's saying this. There's big people who are saying this. They're saying, black people, listen, you need to stay out of this. This not your fight. Your voice is not even heard in this fight because see.
Well, I'm glad the people in Georgia was not listening to that because they felt otherwise.
Let me tell you why your voice not heard in this fight. Because guess what? Only white people can get close to that house. Black people couldn't even step up. If they would have ran up the street charging, all of them would have been shot. Dead in the street, dead. They wouldn't even made it in the other side of the door.
They wouldn't even made
They wouldn't make. Listen, these white folks made it so far in, taking pictures because this was meant to happen. I don't care what you say. This was meant to. These people in this media, they know this. They know what's going on. This stuff was. Listen. They said all of a sudden the police officers were not active to do anything, and they seen these people running up into. This is the United States of America.
Right.
You can't just pull this stuff off and just run into the house and break down doors. And look how long it took for the National Guard to get there. A long time it took them. The police officers couldn't even. They act like they almost act like they was told to stand down because none of them really was doing anything.
And what can they do? Because they got ran over.
What did you see in the Black Lives Matter? They were arresting them on the spot. They was chaining their hands up. They were throwing them inside of the truck. Why this didn't happen in White House? I mean, why does it happen in Washington? In the most powerful place in the country, why this didn't happen there? Since we think this man is that powerful to make this move, and then nothing gonna stop them. You can believe the hype if you want. Drink the Kool-Aid.
I'm not saying that people, and again, depending on your intelligence level, there probably were a few people that actually heard his words and interpreted it as such. But I think by and large, that the people that went up in the Capitol, some of the main folks, this was already, like you said, a part of their agenda. What I am holding Trump accountable for is laying out the pathway. He is just as much a part of that narrative, of that machine. He's a cog in the wheel, however you want to put it. He is responsible to some degree for what happened. That's my only point.
It's obvious that the president of the United States is responsible because that's how it goes. And that's how it should go. That's how come people that's in the background get away with so much. And that's why people like us on this panel still don't get it. Because these people have already been hiding from years and years and years that owns all of these big money banks and all of this. Why do you see? I can even go to bailouts. Okay, let me say this. Why do you think Bernie Sanders had gave numbers of billion-dollar companies that were given tax breaks and didn't even want to give the American people, really didn't want to give them $600. Didn't really. Why do you think that? Listen, even in the crisis of the when all the homes were being foreclosed, you know the first person they bailed out? Oh, matter of fact, the only person that they helped were the banks. The only people that got help. And that was in your boy day, Obama. The banks, the only people who got paid out. Nobody else got bailed out.
You're right.
Nobody else. So why do you think that? Money. It's all about behind the scenes. It's not in front of the scenes.
But that wasn't behind the scenes. They actually bailed out those banks. One of them banks filed for bankruptcy. I mean, they did that on the open.
That's right.
Helping them banks. They just did it.
Right. That's what they have to, because that's who run this country. That's who run this country. They are the real. Listen, it's quotes of people. I'll just say this. One of them last name. Well, I'll say, they got a name connected to say child on them. They get name on to say child. That's one of the companies, and one of them said that we don't want to be we don't want to be presidents, because the person who owns the money runs the world. That's what they said. They don't want to be politics, but the person who have the money runs the world. And that's a true statement. Y'all, oh my God. I'm smiling because it's just such a thing how we're just constantly keep drinking the Kool-Aid, and we go with whatever the media just throw out at us. We just, and they started, they say action at the beginning of 4 years, and we just ride along with them like
Question,
this.
what you're going to send us, do you consider those people part of the media and just spouting out stuff as well? The documentaries you're going to send, do you include them in that?
Here's the thing, right? What is truth and what is facts? Facts are not based on who put it out. Facts based on the resources that the facts that the resource the research that it goes back to. So It's not about that is regardless. All you have to do is look at it, and you do your fact checking. That's the thing that we don't do as Americans. We don't fact check. We only do what we see. That's how some pastors beat church members and been beating them across the head for years, because they don't fact check their minister. They just go whatever he say is the truth. Oh, it must be the truth. I ain't gonna. That's the same thing we doing now with politics. We do that. We've been doing that for years. That we think what we see is what is all about. Keep buying that narrative.
Okay, and then when we look back at this day in history, depending on who writes the article, depending on the lens in which they have viewed what has happened, is going to tell a certain story. And somebody 20 years from now will be able to look that story up and say, here are the facts. Because this is what happened. But it's still a perspective. It's still that person's viewpoint. They can say what happened at this time, that time, this was going on, that was going on.
It's written down. It's written down. I mean, I can tell you something right now. Yeah, listen, all I'm gonna tell you, what you're gonna see is you're gonna see history. You're gonna see history, and you're gonna listen. The proven facts. Here's the facts that. Well, I don't know if it's a fact to you if you don't know it. If you don't know who run Hollywood, then maybe it's not going to be, it's a misnomer. You know, if you don't know who run these real banks, and maybe it is, maybe you won't understand. If you don't understand who is the backbone to the financial dollar, who runs the Federal Reserve, then maybe this won't be anything for you. Maybe it just be words that's thrown out. But here's the thing. None of these people have hidden this. They've never hidden this. You just never paid attention to them. They've never hidden who they are. I mean, you can't say anything to you. You can't even say any. You'll be decensored. You will be everything just by mentioning this group of people's names. But they are connected to bloodlines, and they talk about it. They're connected to bloodline. So it's not like a thing where they're going off their opinion, or there may be certain people that's going to talk about the history, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to talk about the history, and you're going to see the history of how they ruled so many centuries and years and destroyed and caused wars and killed people. You're going to see this. I mean, I'm going too far in this conversation.
But because in America we have a democracy for whatever it's worth. You know, RW3 fought for that democracy. You know what I'm saying? People's lives have been put on the line for that idea that of how this country is supposed to work. So to me, your statements come across as like, if it's not democracy, then you know what really is it? You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to participate in the democratic process, which is what we basically have here. I mean, we know that it's a capitalistic society, but our process is democratic. So, in absence of of a democratic process, what do we have? What do the people have?
Well, let me, and I want to kind of jump on a couple things. One, when I think about, like, facts are not debatable, and walk with me for a moment. Like, I think the argument comes with people in general is why things happen, and in a sense, like who's behind it. Like, for example, it's a fact, and we can't even debate that those people rushed the Capitol. That's a fact. Like, that's undebatable. We saw that happen. Now, what's debatable is why did it happen and who's behind it? Now, but a fact is, we can't argue facts. The fact is, it just happened. But what a debate comes in at, where, well, why did it happen and who's truly behind it? Another point I want to make, for example, it's a fact that, for example, unless we're saying that every state, every voting machine, every governor, both Republican and Democrat, that when they counted, when Michigan voted and all the votes were counted, and then they were certified, then they were sent to Washington. Are we saying that there's something behind? Because we're saying it's a plan for it to be a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic president. So that means that we're saying that regardless to people that went and voted, that there's a nationwide something behind it, that those really weren't what it was. And each state, there's somebody behind that provided results predetermined, and people think they're voting and they're really not. Is that what we're saying?
You lost me. I guess I'm trying to make sense out of what you're saying. I guess
you said, for example, I think you said earlier, you said about and correct me if I'm wrong, that it's we got a Democratic president, we have a Democratic House and Democratic Senate, and it's an overall plan to have a socialist society. Right. And I guess I'm hearing from you that it's planned for those three entities to bring that about. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, here's the thing.
So my question then is, you're saying that no matter who voted, that was going to be the outcome. A Senate with Democrats, Senate with a Senate, House, and President was all going to be Democratic. That no matter what people went out and voted and did, there's a system in place that was going to make that outcome come to pass. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is, because that's too easy to just say it that easy, just that way. Okay, so what I'm saying is that you have crafty people who've planned things out for years. They understand how this society moves. Just like those same people can create coding, just like these people can create things that's unimaginable that they've done in this lifetime that we deal with now, whether we fly planes, whether we have the best military in the world, whether we have the best technology, just those same people and planning, not just those people, but the ideas of planning. These people aren't stupid now. They're not stupid people. You have people who understand how you work. And it's been studies on the mind. They understand humans. They understand people. See, listen, here, that's why I go back to the bad cop, good cop, bad cop. That's why that narrative works so well, because it gets people to do what they want to do without them doing what they want. Just like when a vaccine come your way, it's coming your way. You know what I mean? Whether you want it or not. So my thing is this, okay. The storyline is not that simple to say, okay, so they knew who they want. These people know who they want in office. And here's the thing. You had credible people who ran as Democrats, and they were younger, more civil-minded. But they didn't go into White House for a reason. They chose Sleepy Joe for some reason. They had to put him in the house. Okay, now, because he plays the game. And he was also vice president, just like you had Bush and you had Bush father. It's always a sequence. Okay, so let me get it. Oh, and then you see the skulls and bones where they are in same relations, whether they Democrats or whether they Republicans. But you have to do the research. That's another thing that you have to do. And I get it. We don't want to do it. I understand that. So in saying that is this. What am I saying? In order to get something to be done, we have to do something that will make the people, not force the people, that will make the people change their minds. So we have to build storylines. This isn't okay. We have to build storylines. What do? We start off, something never happened before. I've never seen a president that tweeted as much as this president. And when he tweets, it's always something that causes a problem. Always a problem. Him walking into the White House was a problem. They know that this man wasn't the ideal president. They knew he wasn't. Yeah. They knew he wasn't. And yet he got into the House. Hillary Clinton wasn't supposed to. This is a woman. Why wouldn't they never put her in the House? She had all the right fixings. She even come from a great president. Her husband was a great president, to the black people anyway. So, but yet she didn't get in the House. Who should have gotten into the House? But they chose this man. There's an old saying, presidents aren't elected, they're selected. But they know how to make it work. These aren't stupid people. Okay, so now here's the thing, right? So right away, this man come in the White House and he's on his Twitter lighting it up. Boom, boom, boom. He dogging out everybody. In fact, he's not even a politician. Just like Obama really wasn't a politician. Okay, so now put this man in the White House. Now he's really going at it. He's not scared to say anything. This is a president who can actually, it's obvious there is some words that you should have never said that can cost you black people not to even vote for you. I mean, obvious stuff. But we say, oh, look at Donald Trump. He ain't no good. Boom, boom, boom. Saying some more stuff, doing some more stuff. So what am I saying? Just through the year. Now it shows up when he about to end his presidency. He talks about the voting. How can you guess this? I know there's going to be some fraud going on. Now let's roll the people up and get them. I know it's going to be some fraud going on. And I'm telling you, at the end of the election, it's going to be, I mean, we got to start. I mean, who think of this stuff? Who just think of this stuff off the top of their head? Unless there's a playbook. Unless there's a playbook. Unless there's a playbook that's designed so that, and I'm going to push hate.
Propaganda was unscripted. Propaganda is very intentional, but it's propaganda.
But listen to what I'm saying. I'm trying to get a certain vote. to swing a certain way, a certain group of people to swing a certain way. The only way I'm going to do that, in the documentary, it's going to show how Democrats came to power. You just got to watch it. It's deep down the line. It's going to show you how Woodrow Wilson got in office through this party and how they brought these people over so that they can vote and become a party. And one of the, yeah, you know what? You go do the research on the Democratic Party. From the beginning, these people were something else. From the beginning, who brought the KKK in the door.
They believed in government involvement, and at the time, because times switched, so the Democratic Party through history slowly became the party for people, minorities.
Which they wasn't.
What?
Which they wasn't, because they never helped Black people out at all.
They slowly became the party for minorities. Historically, that's, you know what I'm saying? That's who mainly minorities historically have voted more so for Democrats, more so than the Republican Party. So, I do get that transition of the Democratic Party from the earlier days.
But if you know the history of something, why would you stay with it? If you know the history of something, that wasn't ever good, why would you stay with it? But see, that's on both sides of the party. So here's the interesting concept, and I'll leave it like this. And I didn't say it. This come from a particular person, so I don't want to claim this as being mine. But he made so much sense. He said, because he didn't have a dog in the race either, like I don't. He's a person that has a whole lot of followers. He's a minister, and his narrative. He said this. He said that I would not impeach Donald Trump. Nancy Pelosi should not impeach him right now, because what happens is she said she should wait till he's out of office and then impeach him. You can. I didn't know that. And it would stop him from running for election and when the next time he tries to run again. So I wouldn't mess with him right now. That's stupid to mess with him right now. But why are they doing this? Okay. So here's the thing, because he still can run. Okay. Now, he said, if I was Donald Trump, I would resign, let Pence come in and become president, and let him pardon me, and him pardon Donald Trump and his daughter and somebody else, so that he can run again his next election. But none of them thinking that way. And this is why this Black man could think of this. But it's just, okay. See, it's some people who understand this. When you sit back and you get out of the mess, because we just want to have a voice, but if we get out of the mess, the messiness, and just start looking at what's really going on. Listen, have you noticed this has been happening? The fire got turned up the 1st of January of last year. Fire was turned up and it never been calmed down, because you go and listen, I don't care what, I'm gonna keep saying this. There's a reset that's coming. This country is not going to be the same country that you think is going to be. And this country is going to be taken over in a new world order. I have to cause chaos before I can get the people to want to accept this new. Right now, if people were to say a new world, a lot of people wouldn't accept it. But it has to get bad. It has to get worse. And you about to see it in this next government. It's not over. You can believe it is. It's not over, because the gold, the primary gold, is a one world government. One world government.
Everything else, putting aside all the craziness,
you better put
nonsense.
It aside.
No, I'm saying putting aside all of that, the craziness, the nonsense. What's the ultimate goal out of all of this stuff? That's a
one world government. That's the ultimate. A one world government is the ultimate to your democracy has to crash. It has to crash. And it's good.
If you look at like science fiction movies, like That's not a foreign concept. I mean, we've been talking about things being global for the past 15 years. Like I prime myself now.
It's about to happen.
It's time
globally. Like you I mean, that's just a natural part of evolution.
It ain't natural. It's not natural.
Okay.
It's not natural. It's certainly not natural. You have a people who've been saying, money bankers who've been saying their goal is to rule this world, and the people of this world are, I forgot the word they say, almost like cows and goats, where they can't think for them. They like cattle, where they can't think for themselves, and they need to be controlled. There's a body of people who says that about you and me.
Let me ask you a question. Say there's a one world order. I'm asking you because what is the negative impact to your daily life if there's a one world order?
A one world order means control. That means control over people.
I'm asking you day to day, what would that look like? Like you're at Bushiel Media, and so that's a one world order. What would that look like for you? What would change for you?
Well, your liberties would change.
I'm asking you, Tom. You
but
wouldn't be able to
telling
do
you,
what?
I'm saying to
You
sum
wouldn't
it
be
up,
able to.
You won't even be on this platform.
your liberties.
That would be one of the things.
So you couldn't be on the like a platform. You could
be on this platform. You could be on this platform, but your liberties would change. The freedoms that you know that you have now. You have two freedoms. In your Constitution, you have your constitutional rights, but then you have laws that's under God. Those are actually real law. It's called what is that called? God laws. We have to pull it up. Where you actually have those freedoms under law. Those are going to be gone. You won't have those anymore. That's what a new world order is. It's under a control of government on how they rule and run this world. That's the whole purpose of it. It's just not for you to continue to do what you're doing right now. Those liberties are going to be gone. That's why you have so many people who've gone about it the wrong way. Who's going about it the wrong way. Now, one thing I can contest to, they are going about it the wrong way. But they understand that there are liberties they're going to be taken from them, and that's what the whole uproar is.
Is that what you saying the reason was that they stormed the Capitol was because they felt that their liberties were going to be threatened?
Well, it's always, if you've been doing the actually following the Trump supporters, you will know that's what their whole argument's been about from the beginning, has been their liberties. They feel like
they have a right to not wear a mask.
That's been their whole battle. Yeah, that's been their whole thing all along. But
they have the right to a gun, and you're
right, their liberties. But here's the thing: they're going about it the wrong way. They think that their way, they think that it's total takeover. It's going to be done, but it's not going to be done, implemented in the way they think it's going to be done. But here's the thing. Black folks, we sit back and we take anything. Listen, long as it come with a paycheck and some freedom, we sign on. Listen, it was an article that was out that they said that the black people are the most, I'm gonna put it up. It was so disheartening how they stigmatize black people as being basically stupid. That's what they were saying. We'll go for anything. We don't care. That's in this article that these people put out that's not our skin color. They say we will go for anything. All it has to do is make sense. We will sign up for it. But you take that as you may. What is that? What do they say? Chew the meat, throw out the bones. So you know what I mean? Swallow the meat, throw out the bone. However you take that. But all I'm telling you is this: that your liberties are at hand. Why do you think they just silenced Donald Trump? Why we can't? There's a group of people that I can't talk about. I thought we had liberty. I thought we had freedom of speech. You don't. You think you do.
But hold on, and let's deal with that real quick. The freedom of speech is constitutionally covered government, not private entity. Facebook and Twitter are private companies. They don't cover that, Tom.
We know.
So they can silence who they want.
But that's bad. That means that they have more power over government.
In my private company, Like
That's called
Bullshit
capitalism.
Media. Nobody should tell Bullshit Media what to do with your business. That's your business.
But I should be able to say what I want to say. It just because it's my business, I should be able to say, hey, listen,
I know
he
what
can
I'm
say
saying,
what he
though.
wants to say.
How can't nobody tell Tone how to run Bullshit Media? You see what I'm saying?
Can't. Yeah,
like
yes,
Twitter,
they can. To some degree, they can.
I'm saying Twitter is a private company.
No, I understand that. We get that. We understand that. They even put that on the news.
They can silence who they want.
But no, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. That right. But they silencing me too. I can't say what I need to say. They just silence Nick Cannon. He can't say what he want to say. That had nothing to do with government. He can't say what he wants to say.
So if it's a private company and I can't say what I want to say, I go talk somewhere else then.
No, it's not that simple. Okay, so tell Nick Cannon that. Tell Nick Cannon that's done lost his business and because of, listen, here it go. I don't know. To me, I don't know. It just I can't explain stuff. I can't explain stuff that's obvious. I can't explain stuff that's obvious. It's hard to explain stuff that's obvious. It really is. I mean, if you're paying attention.
My part of the legacy that I leave for any future generations in my bloodline will be to uphold democracy to the best of our ability and participate. You can't win the game if you ain't playing the game. If you choose to sit on the side and watch everybody else play and say, no, this game ain't real, the rules ain't fair, so I'm gonna just sit on the side and I ain't even gonna play the game, I don't have a bone in it, how you ever gonna gain any progress? You have to
know the rules of the game, though. You can't let nobody else know the rules.
They not fair. The rules of the game not fair, and it's not including black folks. The rules of this game, you don't participate.
You don't even gonna have a black race. I mean,
you're not included in this.
I already have demographic information that says what our race is even gonna look like 20, 50 years from now. It's gonna be a mixed race of people anyway. Like,
what that mean though?
Like, what does it mean?
Yeah.
You're talking about people don't have a bone in the game. It's not even gonna be a black per se race.
Yes, it is. Black people gonna always, because everything comes from black people. Everything comes from black people.
Look, there's research. I'm gonna use your words. There's research.
I know it is.
That demographically, the race is going to look totally. We're going to be totally like a biracial race.
Don't believe the hype. Don't listen. Okay. Everything comes from black person. Okay. Everything comes from the black person. Every color, every.
I'm not saying that blackness won't exist. I'm saying that they're like the way that we separate now, because we're mixing the races as we are. You talk about one world order. Like, we're going to be more homogeneous than we think in the future.
But it's still about control, though.
Of races.
But
I'm just saying.
No, I agree with you, because they told us when I was in school, they used to say that a lot in my anthropology class. They talked about how all of these races are in some year are going to be almost like not a white, but like almost like a yellowish or brown type color. But I guess my saying is that doesn't hide the fact that there's a group of people who want to control you, and they own everything, even government. They've already infiltrated government. They infiltrated every existence of this society. That's why there are earmarks. That's why there's sanctions on different companies, on different countries. Now, this is powerful, who don't accept their banking system. So now they war after them, and then they use propaganda to go destroy those areas because their country don't want to accept their banking system within their country. That's why they attack those countries so much. But America is sold, bought, and paid for. This is the biggest whore. This is the biggest whore of the world. America, the Bible says, is a whore. The Bible calls them, this is Babylon that you in. You in Babylon. So this whole gonna go down. It's gonna go down. This country is gonna go down.
So once someone has acquired the knowledge and enlightenment, that sounds like the path that you're on. Kind of going to RW3's point earlier, is there something we can do about it? Is this
No.
just the okay? Okay.
Well, physically, I mean, you haven't been doing anything about it now because we've been asleep. That's why this world is transitioning the way it is. Listen, if you go, all you have, listen, and see, it shouldn't take me to say this, but if honest to God, naturally speaking, if you go and look at your own history, your history has been the time teller. We use that statement, time tells. Well, all you got to do is look at history and look how time have told. Have told it on it's told. They've said it many of times. I mean, it's so much that you can't say in a podcast that's gonna shine on because we've been living our careers. We've been doing what big government has told us to do. Go to school, get an education, work a job, become a slave, because that's really what you are. Become a slave, because if you owe to debt, you a slave. If you owe debt, you a slave. That's what you are. You only work to pay your bills. Think about it. You don't really work to do anything else because you can't pay for that house. If you don't work, you can't drive that car. You can't wear the clothes that you wear. You only work to pay bills. That's what a slave do. That's what a slave is, a worker. So what I'm saying is that, but there's people who don't do that. They don't do that, but they control the narrative. They control. The game is already, I don't know. I mean, it's already laid out before us. It's up to us to understand. Now, let me go back, because I don't want to just leave it like this when you said what we can do. Because see, I always understand what we could do. But my thing is, I mean, one of the things is fight back. Would it change anything? No, because what's already planned for you is gonna happen. That's a fact. Whatever planned for you is going to happen. Listen, and you know, I got to always get spiritual, because who I am as a person, I always try to leave an impact on whoever's watching, because I believe that I'm responsible for that as a believer. So my thought is to this, is that, you know, there's always going to be, well, there's an agenda that has to happen. You know, there's an agenda that has to happen, and it's been planned out for years and years and years. You know, there's some things that I said, okay, Tom, one day I'm gonna just go and say it, but you know, I know I'm not ready yet to say it. But my mind says, so I'll play around with it, and I'll say this, I'll use this. That the way out spiritually, obviously, is Yeshua. I mean, that's the way out, because we all gonna die. You know what I mean? So it's where you open your eyes at that's going to make sense. But until then, this world has done something to a people, and they got to pay for their sins because of what they did to a group of people. And that happens to be slavery. And again, well, you know what? I can say this whether people believe it or not. Black people have to understand who they really are, and they have to do the research so they understand that there's a lie that's been told, and those same people who are big bankers, they say that they are that group of people when they're not. So now in your Bible, it talks about a people that's gonna pay for what they did to Yah's people. You ain't got to believe it, but it's already in stone. It's etched in stone. There's going to be, and this world going to pay for the sins of what they've done to the four corners of the earth. That's going to be, it's already been put in stone. And those group of people hate you and they hate me. It's not, yeah, I can't. So, but anyway, I'll just leave. I'm gonna lace it like that. So here it is. It's almost like, look, we have to understand who we are and who we belong to, and the reason why that we've been suffering for so long because of what we did and our past sins. Until we turn to the Father, we're still going to walk in where Deuteronomy say a curse that's been put on our people, that's been on our people for centuries. But Yah said he's going to free his people and he's going to turn on those people. So now let me rewrite that statement. Everybody's not going to pay. those who belong to him and hearts are right, they won't see that judgment. But it's going to be a judgment that's going to be placed on their people. In every war, there's always casualties. There's always casualties in any war. But you have to understand what side you're on. Because if you give it into this world, you're going to reap the curses of this world. So, I mean, I'm just going there biblically. I have to say that, that's why the Bible said, come out of the world. Come out of the game. That's why I said in the middle of the podcast, Black people don't belong in this war. They don't even need to be a part of this, because what's going to happen, and they're going to see it even more, there's a destruction of a people that's coming to an end. And if you entangle with it, you're going right down the drain with them. You going exactly with them.
Saying something similar to that, by the way.
I mean, but it's the honest God truth. It's in the end, but nobody wants to hear that. They don't want to hear that. But we keep, it's not your fight. Black folks, it's not your fight. We just have to understand that. But I'm so limited to words that I'm so limited to words. But and they know this. There's some people who know this. They know this. Now, I will say this. 400 years is up. You just got to do your research again. 400 years are up. It's funny, after 400 years were up, that all of this broke out. And that was just in last year. And after the 400 years came up, judgment seemed like it's coming on the earth. And everything is breaking off. So the Bible didn't miss something. Let me look back. Wait a minute now. Judgment is starting to come after 400 years. And the Bible said that his people will be places under 400 years. And after that, in some reason, I can't say certain things. But I'm going to tell you, judgment is coming on this earth. You can buy into the okie doke of what's going on. These people are scared in high places. They know what's going on. That's why they want to. I'm gonna jump out there. I can kill this with this podcast close out right now. Well, I do, so I can't say it. But I'm gonna say this. That's why they want you vaccinated so bad. That's why they want Latinos vaccinated so bad. You better figure it out, because I already know the truth. You better figure it out. They don't want you on this earth. Believe it or not, because of who you are. So, but we got to get it. We got to wake up. We have to wake up. Yeah. You're designed. Oh, trust me. So, but and I know, what you're saying. There's a group of people who know this. I know they know this. You know what I mean? That's not talking hate. That's not talking conspiracy. That's facts, and it's been shown from history to history of our people and the way we've been treated and how they always came after us to rid us off this earth. They've been trying for years and years and years. That's why you've been targeted. That's why you've been the one saying that we need these people to be this thing to be plunged down their arm. We need them to be plunged down their arm. And I've even seen some other research to how some affect you more than affect somebody else. Okay, we'll see. We'll just see. Yeah, I digress. I don't know what's going to happen after this with the podcast, so I'm going to let y'all know that now for at least 2 weeks. So I'm going to just be honest with you. But I didn't say anything too documented. Well, I can go deeper in there. People don't want to believe it. But it's a wake up, and there's a fact. You are people that you more than you think that you are. And there's a certain group of people who know that. They know that. That's why Nick Cannon got clipped, because he started talking too much. He started saying something. He started saying something, and they closed him down quick, real quick. Now he don't even have.
Just he's still on the weapons guard. He's still on the Masked Singer.
Yeah, just check it out and see what's going on. So I said enough, but listen, I got to say that Yeshua HaMashiach is the way back. That's Jesus Christ to those who don't know. I got to say that. I don't care what nobody say. We need him as our savior. He's our deliverer. This world is coming to an end. There is judgment, that is coming. We haven't seen nothing yet. It's coming down the line. All I need to tell you to do is put your seatbelt on, because you're about to go for another ride down this roller coaster. And it's all about you. If you don't know that, you're going to know it before the year's out.
That's right.
You're going to know before this year's out. All right, so.
Is this our first show of the new year?
I'm about to go cook for my baby.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the first show.
Okay, well, we'll see what 21 has in
I'm
store.
going to bake some fish for
Hey!
All right, then.
Well, go ahead. Fish it up. Yeah, all right. So, guys, listen, like, share, subscribe if you care. Go to our website, go to our Facebook page, go to our social media page. Guys, you know, they're censoring. We'll see what happens on this one. But, you know, hey, you know what? Y'all be the glory, whatever. You know what I mean? So people got to do what they have to do. But like and subscribe, share. We come on every day at 4, every Sunday at 4:45 EST. Check us out. And peace out. We'll see you guys next Sunday.
Have a lovely day.
Love.